Hi, I'm Michael Hill with Canine Chronicle TV, and today I'm in the kitchen to give you some food for thought about what you're putting in your dog's stomach, whether that's during a training session or during competition. In my work, usually the discussion is about what kind of food we're feeding the dog on a daily basis. And there's a lot of different opinions out there. Some people feed raw with a lot of success, other people feed different brands of kibble, whether that's Purina, Wellness, Blue Buffalo, etc. And a lot of people have great success with a combination of both. For me today, I'm going to talk about what you're using as a training reward or as a motivating treat when you're trying to shape behavior or when you're trying to keep a dog engaged and performing in a dog show. My first go-to when I have the logistics set up for it is to cook chicken for the dog, because for the most part that's pretty healthy and still has a high degree of motivation factor for most dogs. Now, there are always going to be dogs that aren't food motivated, or the circumstances are going to be affecting their food motivation. I find if a dog is too affected by fear or reactivity, their appetite is going to go away. And that's what I kind of use as a determining factor for how stressed the dog is in that moment. If a dog isn't willing to take food, we need to give them time to adjust to that situation and to become desensitized by realizing that they don't need to be worried, whether that's a show or just a new environment that you're taking your dog into. So I kind of will offer a high value food like the chicken, and if the dog doesn't take it, I don't push the issue. Because if a dog's already nervous and you're acting frantic because the dog isn't taking the food, that's only going to make the matter worse. So ignoring that behavior and letting the dog settle on their own, and then offering the chicken later, maybe once the dog has had some time to normalize, is usually your best bet. Generally what I'll do is I'll take chicken breasts and I'll grill it, partially because I just like grilled chicken better than any other preparation. What you can do is you can grill a whole breast and then cut it into small chunks about this size. I like this because it fits in my pocket well, and it can also break into small pieces easily and be handed to the dog in repeated increments without feeding them the whole thing at one time. However, if your dog does something really well or makes a breakthrough, then you can give a little bit more to your dog, like a jackpot, and that's when I'll give them the whole chunk. When I'm prepping for travel or for a day of training, usually what I'll do is I'll prepare a cooler with ice, and I'll put a Tupperware like this with some paper towel in it to kind of absorb the moisture from the chicken, because I personally don't like the feel or smell of chicken all in my pockets. So kind of setting it like one layer at a time with paper towel on top helps with that issue as you're working with your dog through the day. Now, if you're at a dog show and you're staying in a hotel, you can prep your chicken ahead of time if your hotel has a refrigerator. However, that's one thing you might want to check before making the reservation, because not all hotels do, and you might end up losing your chicken if you don't have somewhere to store it, or if you don't have a cooler with enough ice on hand. That's one of the reasons, too, why you want to be careful when you go to a dog show, that you're not buying food from a vendor set out that might not be keeping the chicken cool enough, because bacteria can grow easily. And the last thing you want to do is add a bacterial infection to your dog when they're already stressed from traveling and trying to perform at their best. So I'll just keep Tupperwares like this, and then as I go throughout the day, I'll take it out of the cooler and refill. But again, be mindful of how long you are keeping chicken in your pocket, because after about 2 hours, bacteria starts to grow, and again, we don't want to be making the dog sick when we're trying to have them compete at their best. Another popular choice for bait, or for training treats, is liver. Most dogs like things that smell really strongly, and that's one of the reasons, though, that I don't like prepping liver in my house personally. However, you can also buy liver as a freeze-dried option, in which it comes in a bin and I get on Amazon or in a pet store, and that works great to have a still higher value food reward that you don't have to keep cool like the chicken, and that's easily available without preparation, especially if you're on the road and you don't have access to a refrigerator or a kitchen. The things you want to be careful are be aware of seasonings and salt when you're prepping these baits. Dogs can't handle salt as well as people do, and even still, people as well as dogs are going to bloat with more sodium. So if you're having your dog compete in the conformation ring, you want your dog looking and feeling their best. And if they're bloated down by heavy salt, you're going to only be hurting your chance of success in the ring. Another option that I like is something like this. Dogswell makes this jerky that's first ingredient is lamb. It also includes flaxseed oil, vitamin E, zinc, biotin, omega-3, and 6. So this is an example of a food that's designed to be a health food for dogs, but is also still high reward factor. It has a strong smell to it, and it can be a little oily, so I still like to wrap it in a paper towel, especially when I'm putting it in my pocket with my dress pants at a dog show. But the great thing about it is, as you wave it around in the air, it's a perfect size to catch a dog's eye and really get their attention with both the smell and the size, but it still breaks apart easily to be able to feed small pieces to your dog and keep them motivated and engaged. The one thing you want to be careful when you're training a dog is not that you don't overfeed them. Because even if you like Twix bars, if you're eating Twix all day long, there's a certain point where your stomach is going to be full and tired of eating. So I like to stop training sessions while the dog is still engaged and motivated, and that helps build their food motivation. Additionally, you can cut back on the amount of food that you're feeding the dog that day so that they are a little hungrier and then going to be more interested in the food, especially when you're taking them to a more challenging environment like travel or a place they've never been before or a dog show. This is one way that you can kind of increase their interest in the food and help them focus on you more. Thanks for joining us on Canine Chronicle TV, and we'll be back with more tips and tricks about everything involved with the sport of dogs.